The autumn air carried a quiet chill, the kind that made you tuck your hands into your pockets and breathe a little slower. Emily Carter stood at the edge of Maple Street, her eyes following the fading yellow leaves as they swirled to the ground. She had always loved this time of year, but lately, the beauty of it seemed dimmed by the thoughts she carried. She was 28, working as a graphic designer in Portland, and for the past 3 years, she had been in a relationship with Daniel Hayes, a man who seemed to be everything she had ever wanted, at least in the beginning. They met in the most ordinary way, at a coffee shop near her office. She remembered the way he smiled that first morning, offering her the last blueberry muffin because she had reached for it at the same time he did. His voice had been warm, his laughter genuine. Back then, Emily would have sworn she could see the kindness in his eyes. And maybe she did. But as time passed, she realized that eyes could also hide things. Her grandmother once told her, "If you want to know if someone loves you, Emily, look at their eyes when they speak to you. Words can lie, but eyes rarely do." Emily hadn't thought much about that advice until recently. Daniel had been distant for months now. He still showed up, still kissed her on the cheek before leaving for work, still sent her quick text messages during the day. But when he looked at her, it felt different. The softness she used to find there was gone, replaced with something she couldn't quite name. One evening, she decided to test her grandmother's theory. They were having dinner together at their small apartment. Emily had made his favorite, roasted chicken with garlic mashed potatoes, and lit a few candles to make the evening feel special. Daniel smiled when he walked in, said it looked nice, and sat down. But when she asked him how his day had been, his eyes didn't meet hers. They flickered down to his plate instead. "It was fine," he said, cutting into the chicken. "Just fine. No detail. No warmth." Emily studied him for a moment, remembering how he used to tell her every little thing, funny moments from the office, the annoying traffic, even small stories about the barista who spelled his name wrong. Now it was as though a curtain had been drawn between them. After dinner, as they sat on the couch, Emily leaned against him. He wrapped his arm around her automatically, but she noticed how his eyes were fixed on the TV. There was no spark when he glanced at her, just a polite acknowledgement. She went to bed that night feeling more alone than she had in months. The following week, her best friend, Rachel Morgan, invited her out for coffee. They met at the same shop where Emily had first met Daniel. "You look tired," Rachel said, stirring sugar into her latte. Emily shrugged. "I guess I am." Rachel raised an eyebrow. "What's going on? Don't tell me it's nothing, because I can read you like a book." Emily hesitated. "It's Daniel. I don't know, something feels off. It's like he's here, but not really here. And when I look at him, really look at him, it's not the same." Rachel leaned forward. "Has he said anything?"
No.
"That's the thing. Everything seems normal on the surface, but I don't know." Emily paused. "My grandmother used to say you can tell if someone loves you by their eyes. And when I look at his now, I don't see it anymore." Rachel gave her a sympathetic look. "You deserve someone whose eyes light up when they see you." Those words stayed with Emily. That night, she lay awake beside Daniel, listening to his steady breathing, wondering if she was imagining everything. A few days later, she decided she needed to know the truth. Not through a confrontation, not through arguments, but by watching. By paying attention to the one thing her grandmother had always trusted. They went to a friend's engagement party that weekend. Emily watched Daniel as they mingled with the other guests. When he spoke to other people, his eyes lit up, especially when talking to his colleague Claire, who was laughing at something he said. Emily felt a hollow ache in her chest. But when he turned to Emily to ask if she wanted another drink, his eyes were calm, polite, almost blank. The truth was there, unspoken, but undeniable. That night, back at the apartment, Emily sat by the window, staring out at the city lights. Daniel was in the shower. She thought about all the years they had shared, the trips they had taken, the late-night conversations, the plans they had made for the future. But love wasn't something you could fake, not in your eyes. When Daniel came out, she asked him to sit down. "Daniel," she began, her voice soft, "I need to ask you something, and I want you to be honest. Do you still love me?" He looked at her, and in that moment, the answer was already there. His eyes didn't shine, didn't soften. They were steady, almost guarded. "I care about you, Emily," he said after a pause. "A lot. But I don't know if it's the same anymore." It hurt. God, it hurt. But it was the truth, and she had already seen it before he spoke. The weeks that followed were hard. They decided to part ways, and Emily moved into a small apartment across town. At first, the loneliness was overwhelming, but she also felt a strange kind of clarity. She had learned to look beyond words, to trust what she saw in someone's eyes. Months later, Emily found herself back at the coffee shop, this time sitting alone with her laptop. That's when a man approached her table, tall, with a warm smile and eyes that crinkled when he laughed. "Mind if I sit here?" "Place is packed," he said. She nodded, and they started talking. His name was Luke Bennett, and he was a photographer who had just moved to the city. As they chatted, Emily noticed something she hadn't felt in a long time. His eyes didn't just look at her, they really saw her. Every word she spoke seemed to matter to him. It didn't mean she was ready to fall in love again, but it reminded her that her grandmother had been right. If you want to know if someone loves you, or could love you, look at their eyes. Because eyes tell the truth, even when words don't.